Okay, guys, we are here with a very special guest in the building. This is Jay the Closer, and I'm here with Tricia from Luminous, the short-term rental website that will take care of everything for you. Okay, so this is another legendary podcast with another legendary individual. I just want to welcome you here on the podcast today.
Jay.
It's a pleasure. I gave a short introduction
And
to you.
just let me give a bit more volume, so we're just going to start again.
Okay, that was legendary.
That was
legendary. It's okay, you know, we're legendary
10 times
regardless.
better, 10 times better, 10 times better. That could be a blooper. Out of
Yeah. Okay, and just go anytime.
3. All right, guys, back again with another amazing podcast with a legendary individual. We got Tricia here from Luminous, the short-term rental platform that will take care of anything for you anywhere around the world. So it's game-changing. On this podcast, we have game-changing people, legendary people. It's such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you.
Welcome again. So I gave a soft introduction. Give your own introduction, basically about what you do and who you are.
Sure. So my name is Tricia, and my company's name is Luminous Vacation Rentals. What we do is we work with investors, realtors, and people from all over the world. Our business is actually global, so it's pretty cool to be able to have units everywhere.
That's
So
crazy.
It's pretty cool. So we take care of everything from like guest communications to driving revenues and reservations,
Yeah.
and yeah, we definitely take care of everything.
So the one-stop shop, like the whole concept of the one-stop shop is what people want nowadays,
Yeah.
right? And that's why they're using these other third-party platforms. And what you're doing is you're coming into the game and you're changing the game, right?
Correct.
You're freeing people up. Like for those of you who don't know, she actually manages some of my B&Bs, and I'm actually listening with her now. So and it's been super easy. I don't have to do anything, reply to guests, work out any claims, do anything like that. They take care of everything.
Yeah.
It's super hands-off, and then they optimize everything, so now we're making even more money than what we were making before on just the one platform that we were relying on. So that is game changer. So let's talk about basically what your company is doing right now. You mentioned some of the things, but what is your core focus right now? And then we're going to backtrack on basically how you got started. So
Sure.
what is your core focus right now, and what do you want people to know?
We're
about Luminous?
scaling. We're scaling, and exactly as what you said. We're definitely looking to change the game. We're looking to disrupt the market
Yes.
because Airbnb, Booking.com, VRBO, they're all hosting platforms.
Yes.
And the takeaway that I've gotten from all of it was that they don't really care about the hosts. Like nobody
No.
cares about the host. They just want to take.
Client acquisition.
They want acquisition
to boost up their valuation
Exactly.
and build up their subscription model.
Yeah, because what they do is they make money on the transaction, and what I wanted to do was while making money on the transaction, because that's the way we're in a sharing economy now. You know what I'm saying? Where everything is about a sharing economy.
Yeah, partnerships.
So, you know, what I wanted to do was come in and really take care of my hosts,
Yeah,
take care of the people who are helping me
100%.
make money. You
That's how
know,
it's supposed to be.
we make money when you make money. That's the biggest takeaway for my clients is that I don't make money unless they make money, and if I have to sit, that's what drives our company.
Yeah.
It's because we know that our results rely on providing for our investors.
So then it's basically like it's a no-brainer for people to invest
Yeah,
in
just come on
Luminous
board.
because
Yeah,
you don't make anything unless they optimize and make more.
correct.
right?
And the intention is to, because we understand the back end of things. My background was from Booking.com. I used to work at Booking.com for 3 years before I started my business.
Mhm.
And my job was to drive revenues to the chain hotels like the Hiltons and the Best Westerns.
Mhm.
They were a part of my portfolio, but the other side of my portfolio was to acquire people like yourself
Yeah.
and get them to host on Booking.com.
Yeah.
So I understood how to do specific types of promotions and like
You understand the back end work that comes
yeah,
with
like
it.
you that most guests or most hosts don't know because
I didn't know.
you know like because the big thing about this game right now is that everybody's like if I have a property and I can take pictures and I
Yeah.
can put some words into it, the Airbnb, I want an Airbnb.
Yeah.
You know, they become so dependent
on the platform.
on the platform, and the platform's not like I said. It's great because it drives your reservations because
Yeah.
it's like the Walmart of the Airbnbs or the short-term rentals.
That thing is so important, especially with what I'm doing right now with my cash car rental academy. I'm teaching people how to create car rental companies without relying on these platforms where you get triple the profits and control everything, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what you're doing is essentially the same thing. You're saying, listen, we're actually not in the Airbnb game. We're in the short-term rental game.
Correct.
Across several platforms, you know how to optimize those. You know how to generate more revenue. You know how to build the SEO, the backlinks, and certain things to make your listing optimized on these platforms. You know how to optimize the revenue and how to change between
That's right.
certain days and other days. You have to
All of
charge
that is
more.
so important, and that's what you want to do. Like for an investor, I mean, I love having this type of dynamic. I like to look at my portfolio like having stocks, and I teach my investors that as well.
It is.
Because it's like if I have a few one bedrooms and I have a few 2 bedrooms and I have that 1 5 bedroom that will produce high revenues and everything else is stabilized. So not only are like when you're coming
You have
out,
shares in basically my Airbnb.
you know what I'm saying?
You have shares in my
Exactly.
short-term rental.
Right. So every time that you drive revenue, I'm getting a piece of it. We're making money together, as I said. And in the process, you get to sit back and work on building up your portfolio. Take care of what you're good at. Like this is what I'm good at. So you know what I mean?
Strategic partnerships.
Yeah,
is so
exactly.
important to
And
understand.
and this is what I'm saying. The world is really in this game of like I said, it's a sharing economy. But everybody's trying to leverage, and companies are trying to leverage off of people like you and I.
Yeah.
We have to disrupt the market. So, for example, with
Take
my,
back controllership.
that, and also what I like to say is that like a lot of people are in this industry. They're like, oh, I'll teach you how to make Airbnb. I'll teach you how to do this and that, which is fine. But in my company, what I've done is I've recruited those people so that I can expand and scale.
Perfect.
So one of your questions were, what are we looking to do right now? What are we doing right now? We are scaling across the world. Like I have people in Pakistan, I have people in the United States. I have a guy who lives in the jungle right now who wants to work for me in apartment units. And I'm giving them literally
those crazy,
Yeah.
some of those most unique places, they
Yeah.
do so well on these platforms because they're so unique and people will actually go out of their way, like it's a resort. Like you're thinking about resorts in certain countries that people are going to, they're going to the country just for the resort. Now yet people going to these places just for that short-term rental.
Exactly.
That's so unique to that place or such a unique build or it's used with certain materials that aren't custom every other place, right? So tell me a little bit about your upbringing. Like, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? Let's get into that.
All right. I mean, I think I came from a hustle mentality since I was young. My mom and my dad were hustlers, especially my dad. And we grew up around that culture. There was a time where we were young, our parents didn't feed us. I'm sure we can all. Yeah, they were like, yo, if you want shoes, go figure it
You're not the
out.
one being stuck from nothing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, while we had a great life, I'm not going to sit here and say that, we're struggling and I don't have that sad story. I mean, just like everybody else, I'm sure we all have our own stories. But for me, I loved hustling. When I was a kid, we had Terry Fox. I was trying to figure out how I can get everybody to pay me, as bad as that sounds. I still gave my money to them, but I was
Did
just
the same thing. I'll tell
you know
you
what
my
I'm
story
saying?
after. I did the same thing.
You know what I mean? But in the same breath, I worked at a butcher shop when I was 13. I started collections when I was 18. And then I started to get into money. I saw it and I liked it. I liked it a lot. And what drove me is everyone around me was partying and and I like going out too, but at the same time I was always the one
you had
reading
the
books.
focus was first, right? The discipline was first.
I like
Work hard,
reading
play
books.
hard.
I was a little nerdy and I'm still pretty nerdy. One of my friends, I'm probably
Nerds run the world right now.
let me tell you, I'm cool, but I'm not
Nerds
nerdy.
run the world right now.
I'm saying because I like to sit there and I like to look at data. I like to, so growing up, I was still trying to figure myself out, but I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I knew that I wanted to run multiple companies. And I knew that, if I worked for a 9 to 5, I didn't stay for them, with them for too long. I really, you know what I mean? I was always
you were there, you were like your silent business partner. Work over there, get a little bit of change.
I get some
your
paychecks,
next project.
but I still wanted to do
project.
my own thing because I wanted to go and wait, and
Smart.
I didn't care to go in every day, and I was like, whatever, if I don't want to go in today, I won't go in today. And I eventually either got fired or I left. In the case of Booking.com, I was like, yo, this is crazy because the market was wild. It was 16, 17. And we were starting to onboard all these companies that were like, hey, we got 20 units. We want to put them up on your site. And I was like, 20 units? What are you guys doing? What is this? And I always used to listen to their pain points when saying oh, I don't have a cleaner. I don't have a cleaning company that knows 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, deal with the laundry, this, that, and the other. So I was like, okay.
And that's a big thing. I have to even start my own private cleaning company.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I started a cleaning company specific to that market. I was one of the first in all of Toronto. And I'll say that right now to the camera.
Do it.
I was one of the first companies in Toronto that had like 25 units deep.
Yeah.
And I had multiple contracts, and I ran that gig for a very long time,
Yeah,
and I
yes,
loved it.
understand it.
You know what I mean? And yeah, so I understood the back end, and then I understood the front end. So I was like, wait, I know how to do everything. I took all the systems that I learned from Booking.com, and I just applied it to my own business.
That's what I do. So tell me a little bit about what motivated you early on in life.
Oh man.
Who motivated you?
Oh, my biggest motivation was always my grandparents, my mom, my pops for sure. He was a hustler. He used to take me around like everywhere. He would go. He was an importer and exporter, so he would go and buy things and flip them, buy it and flip.
Flipper, yeah.
And he would buy houses and flip them. We would live them for like 3 years. We lived in them, and then he would go and sell it.
Yeah.
And he bought our last home that he bought was a refurbished property.
Those are the best.
It was a repossessed property. Sorry,
Well, that's
repossessed.
what I thought.
Cash $250,000 when we sold it. We sold it at $1.8 million.
How much money you put in for the rental?
Probably like at that time it was like dirt cheap, like maybe 30,000. We had a pool in the backyard.
Snap.
We
Where was
had
this?
Markham.
Markham?
Yeah.
Because the Markham market boomed. It was almost like the Brampton market and Mississauga market.
Yeah,
Right?
this was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, especially with Corona, like we've seen the Ashton come on this. So I flip a lot of houses over here, throughout Southern Ontario and the GTA, right? So I'm in all these markets, and you start to see, right, the best types of properties to buy are the as-is properties.
Yeah.
You go in there, renovate them, refinance them, you flip to yourself, or you flip to the end consumer to get top dollar. So you understand real estate. I think that's what allows you to propel into the short-term rental games, because you understand the real estate side, and you understand dealing with investors and agents and professionals who need certain services done, right? So you're there. You're basically like a property manager for short-term rentals. But then you're more than that. You're a one-stop shop. Not only do you have the links and the phone numbers to get everything done, you do everything with your company. So that's what I think is so important about Luminous. Okay, so describe yourself how you were in high school, right? Or like, what would your peers say about you?
Really? This is a hot seat, you know.
No, so we want to. So the whole thing about this podcast is we want to outline what we're doing right now.
Okay.
And we want to step back. So there's people who may currently be in high school or college right now, or they're younger, or even older, and they're stepping out of the shell. And it's good to know that you started off a certain way, and then now we're doing this, right? So that's why I like to reflect back on how you were before. So there's people who currently could be like that, or have a viewpoint like that, or be a certain way, and then now, okay, you can still get here even though you're like that. So, like you said, oh, I'm a nerd, but we don't know that. The nerds run the world, right? So you could have been a book, or like, you tell me.
Okay.
How were you?
I mean, pretty bad. I was like a rebel without a cause. While I say that, I did always want to, like I said, I like to read books. I really like to.
Smart.
I just like to do things on my own time. This was the thing.
No, everyone's supposed to do things.
And I feel like I love the school system. I think it teaches us the main, like the basics, like go to class on time.
Just saying that.
You know, it's like you learn the fundamentals of life.
That's it.
And you learn the hard. It is truly the hard knock life. I had my first breakup. I felt my first emotions there. So, but
you grew up there.
But yeah, exactly. You grow up, and then you go out into the other world, and you're like, damn, this is a little bit different. We're all the same because you're going into institution from institution. So I didn't like institutions, and I never liked them. Hence why I was a little bit of, like I said, a rebel in that. With that said, I went to business class. The only class that I liked to go to was business class because my teacher was pretty dope. I can't remember his name, but he was my grade 10 teacher. And he gave us an assignment where we had to come up with a business plan. And I created this company called Curry and Hurry. It was at that time I went to Curry in a Hurry.
Curry in a Hurry.
Yeah. So
hold on, first and foremost, what's your background? Guyanese?
Yeah, I'm Guyanese.
Okay, so you have the Guyanese curry.
Yes.
Okay,
the best curry. I
don't know, they're Jamaican, so I don't know.
Listen,
all
Jamaican want to say it, you want to say
guys say, okay, hold on, but who says chicken curry?
I don't know, honestly.
Is it chicken curry?
I say chicken.
Okay, it's curry chicken with Jamaicans. For all you other Caribbean people out there, I don't want to offend you guys, but it's supposed to be called curry chicken. Anyways, let's hear the Guyanese point of view of this curry. Tell me.
So, well, I wanted to make this company called Curry and Hurry, and I got business cards. I remember it was like a little palm tree and it said Curry and Hurry in cursive. and I said that I wanted to make it into a food truck, but it's like a delivery service because it's created like on the road.
Couldn't hurt, yeah. No.
Yeah.
I probably make them if that was live
You know
right
what I'm
now.
saying?
Yeah.
I will do that in my lifetime. It's one of my adventures that I want to get into eventually. But yeah, going back to your question, I definitely, again, I always knew that I wanted to do something without having to follow the rules, make my own thing. I really like to do. I like to be creative as well. Like, you know, I like to come up with ideas. I'm very strategic. I like to come up with strategies. Like I was always trying to figure out how to fix things or do things. I was a part of a lot of teams, sports teams, so that required strategies. So I like that. And I like to always being a part of a team too. I always like to network with people as everybody's friend. You know, I definitely like talk to. If you had the spacers in your area or like you were in the library, I showed with everybody. I loved. You know,
that's the thing.
friendships.
You can learn something from everyone. That's why I like to reflect back on kind of what you were doing when you were young, because every type that I came from an environment where I was like more like a street dude, like a hustler. Like in school, when I went to school, I thought school was like
a meeting point.
Look at all these people that want to buy things, right? They buy lunch every day.
Yeah.
You know, back then I guess weed wasn't legal, but they bought weed every day. People, you know what I mean? They went and they bought clothes, right? So that's why I started getting into clothes and started getting into clothing, the clothing brand and the clothing line. And we started selling clothes out of the trunk, right? So right now we got one of the Cake Life exclusive. Cake Life, Break Bread. You know what I mean? This is the #1 up and coming clothing line coming out of the GTA Toronto. With some of the most creative people, so we got that on right now. We're supporting, we're showing love.
Yes.
We're gonna drop the website in the description.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got into clothes and we started doing those things because we were creative, right? Like you were saying, we were creatives. We wanted to shoot music. We wanted to do, you know what I mean, videography, you know, pictures and those things.
And this is before we had all this like technology.
We had nothing.
That's what I appreciated about back then too, and kind of where you get that grit from. There's a difference between our generation and the generation that you know, and I think it's because we had to do that grit. We had to figure things out. You know, I had a ghost line when I was in grade 9. You know what I mean? Like we had the cell phones, and we had that stuff back in the day. But like I said, we had to figure it out. So that's why I feel like we work really hard. Like we appreciate making that dollar, and we appreciate, like, you know, doing what we need to do to figure it out.
And the thing is, people don't understand, and that's why business is central, because everything we do is business. Everything around us is business. This whole setup is business. Everything that we're using is business. Our phones, all your clothes, that is all business, right?
And you just want a piece of that.
It's not even just that. If you don't have a piece of it, then what are you doing? Because everything we do is business. So if you don't, and Rich Dad Poor Dad Robert Kiyosaki says, whether you work a job or not, you need to mind your own business. He didn't say mind your own business, he meant mind your own business. When you go to work or you go to a job for 8 hours a day, you're minding that company's business or the founder's business, right? That other hours in the day, you can use them to mind your own business, right? Build your credit, establish a side hustle, establish a side business, start investing, right? So that's what's so important with what we're doing right now, like you said, with partnerships, because now you're able to get access to information and build with other people and grow together and do massive things and make great impact, right? So when we're talking about your journey with Booking.com, let me know how long you worked there for, so people can know that you're not just somebody who just rented the Airbnb or Verbo or one of these other platforms and said, I'm a guru, right? Let us know how long you've worked there and what you soaked up from Booking.com.
Sure. I loved my time at Booking.com. I got to travel, I don't think it would be where I am without Booking.com. I worked there for 2 years and I got to travel the world. My job was to go into different territories, and like I said, I drove revenues to the big chain hotels. One of my biggest clients was Hilton. And, you know, I had a good market share out in southern Ontario. So they would fly me out to Europe and all these different countries to meet with investors like yourself.
So that's how you make these links in different
countries. And
that's important, people. Hold on. I want people to take that one in right there. Links are the key to everything. Like connections. Knowing the right people sometimes is more important than knowing doing the right thing, right? So you went around and you leveraged your job to make these connections, right?
Yeah.
So you made these connections, and then now you leverage that into your own company, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. Right?
Yeah.
So,
That's exactly what I did. I mean,
so what do you think? Okay, what do you think are the biggest takeaways you got from working there?
oh, the connections, most importantly, systems. Booking.com was huge on systems.
That's the key.
And everything we did was data driven. There was nothing that we did there that was supported by like people
Emotions
testing.
or, yeah.
No, testing. It was a lot of A/B and like
A
call
and B
it
testing.
A/B testing.
Yeah.
And we're constantly like figuring out what the consumer behavior is all about. What did they like? What did they click on? What keywords did they like? So that's why when I work with my clients, I focus on specific things, very
So
specific
basically what
things.
you did with me.
Yeah, you know, and I looked at and I do an analysis of your whole account, whether you have 4 accounts or if you have 1 account or 20 accounts. I just do an overview analysis of the whole thing to understand, like, okay, if you have too much content. Right now, what I'm teaching my team is, by the way, we recently acquired like 4 or 5 reps that are in different countries, as I said.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm teaching them, and instead of, like I said, selling them a package or whatever, like they're going to be making residual with me,
Passive income. with
passive
work.
income.
Yeah, so they're gonna get
Yeah.
profit share.
Yeah, profit share of my company.
Those are
And
the
then-
best types of things that people set up.
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki is huge on that, network marketing. So I'm teaching them right now what is the difference between a good listing and a bad listing. What are the characteristics of a high conversion listing
Yeah.
and one that's not?
Yeah.
And it's like the simplest things. If you're taking cell phone pictures, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You're walking into a virtual mall.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, like you have to be able to represent your storefront
You want to
very
be able
well.
to, when you look at these
Very
listings,
well.
it's like you're almost walking into the place.
Yeah, like you're virtually walking into it as they display it. And if I don't have pictures that look to me attractive. And you actually mentioned something earlier when you talked about unique spaces. My business model is unique places and unique spaces.
Mhm.
If you go on my website, that's what it says.
Yeah.
Because we understand that people are now Instagramming, you know, I'm at this Airbnb and I'm doing this, that, and you know, and it's marketing for us. But while that's said, we know that that's what the conversions, or that's what they want. That's the highest conversion units. We know beachfront properties are very,
Yeah,
you know,
the
but-
unique, and that's what we're talking about with these
Yeah.
places in the jungle.
But not even that. Even like for couples and backpackers, remote workers are huge now.
Yeah.
Like everybody's working from home, so we're tapping into that market now, and we're finding units that people would want to work from, and taking care of all of that. We're even doing things like add-on services. So, you know, airport pickup services, private chefs. Our units in Jamaica, you can get a massage.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a resort
Yeah,
almost,
You're
right?
literally, but you're being able to, the difference between, I believe, our platform and the other platforms is that you can customize your trip as you go. Excuse me. And while you're customizing your trip, you're doing it in a way where you're creating your own trip for your own budget, like these really cool places that are really
So let's talk about some of the blind spots that you identified. I know you mentioned work at Booking.com, you went to different places.
Can you pause it for a sec?
Yeah, that's okay. Just get it.
I gotta get some water.
I just have to reposition you.
Yeah, just cut it, edit it.
Okay, yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So Joshua, I'm gonna need 3 claps when you.
So, what do you think made you want to go all in on Luminous? So, like, tell me the steps that you took or the mindset that you had to have that made you want to go all in with this company.
After I saw the growth in the market and I saw how easy, like literally these companies were popping up everywhere.
Mhm.
So I was like, I want to do it as well. And I just knew the numbers and I knew the returns based on what I was seeing and what I was getting from my clients or seeing what they were getting.
So you identified something in the market, basically,
Yeah.
and you said, you know what, and I think this is where the profit is, right? Like, this is where I can really change the game, right? So, and that's what we talk about on this process. The process is so important because we have people over here who are literally identifying things that can change the markets,
Yeah.
and they're changing the game, right? They're changing the way of life. You're taking responsibility investors who have a lot of things to worry. They're taking responsibility of short-term rental arbitrage people and short-term rental investors who have their things on different platforms that aren't performing that well, right?
Yeah.
You optimize them, so you identify what's wrong in the market.
Yeah, the problem.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is people
Profit.
don't have time.
Innovators are,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, they're changing the game, right? Because the innovators are the ones who are going to be changing the way life is, right? And changing the way things are done, right? So just look at all these companies that came into the market, right? In a few years, they changed the way people operate, right?
Yes.
Like Airbnb, Virgo, these different platforms changed the way people go and do
And they
vacations
travel, yeah.
and how they travel,
Yeah.
right? These car rental companies changed the game with how people rent cars when they travel, right? So it's so crazy that we're like pioneers. You're a pioneer in this industry, right? You've got your 10,000 hours. You're an expert. You've got everything that you need to get, and you've soaked up the game and you've changed the whole industry. So that I want to say, I want to shake your hand again for that because it's so powerful that we have young innovators coming out of our city, our country, and even this beautiful world that we live in. So talk to me a little bit about the process with setting up a short-term rental.
Okay.
Or like maybe like if there's somebody out here who hasn't done it before and they want to get into it and they want to start getting with you, what are the processes? Like, what's the steps you gotta take?
Well, first of all, if you have a property, if you don't have a property, the first thing that I always do is I look into the market to understand the consumer behavior, how many units there are in the market, where are the most profitable units. So it's always market research. I always use the first process, first part of the process.
So that's what you would do.
That's what I do.
What would you tell somebody else here who's watching and says, okay, you know what? I want to get a short-term rental and put it on Luminous and have you guys optimize me. What are their steps to get them?
Well, they can call me. They can message me on Instagram, or they can go to my website at luminous.ca, luminous.ca, and they can go to my Instagram at $1 trillion host. Then just reach out to me and I'll be able to do an analysis of your.
Okay, so that perfect. Everyone out there, go to luminous.com, reach out to her, go to her Instagram page, $1 trillion host, reach out to her for any tips and tricks. But let's give them some tangible things they can do right now. So before they even contact you, like what can they do before they even contact you? So like for example, me, right?
Yeah.
I had already short-term rentals and then they contact me to optimize them. I would say, in my opinion, maybe you may think something different, that they should go out and find a rental first. So they either buy something, right, or the arbitrage model, which I know you know a lot about, which is going out and getting a lease on a place and then putting it back. So that's more what I meant, like steps. And obviously, the best steps is going to an expert, right?
Yeah.
Go to an expert.
Yeah, that's what I tell you to do.
And even before you end up choosing the actual place, reach out to her and she will say, listen, this is the type of place, this will make more money, this is, you know what I mean, so this is what we can get at night. So yes, but what actual tangible steps can they do before they talk to you?
Yeah, that would be, no matter what, would be the first step. For me, it's just to understand where you're going to invest into.
Okay.
For me, you have to look at where people are traveling to.
Yeah. Okay.
Metropolitan areas aren't, in my opinion, profitable because they're oversaturated. I look into markets that are not overly saturated and that have a lot of travelers.
Yes.
So that's what I would do as an investor, is purchase an overseas investment. And I have a lot of contacts for that as well. And I urge my investors to go where you can make high profits and pay low, lower expenses.
Yeah, and that's something that we talk about too, right? You want low barriers to entry. So those of you out here who want to get into this game, just know that if you don't have the money to buy a property, you can go and pick up a lease and then work something out with the owner of that actual property. Say, hey, listen, I'm going to rent on a long-term basis, but I run my business on short-term rentals, right?
Yep.
And I bet you can actually show them how to do this and show them how to get these leases so that they can now list on these platforms and list with Luminous and how to optimize it, right? So I think that's a key step to those of you who are out there that want to get into this game. Find a lease, contact her, she will do everything, she'll show you everything, she'll guide.
That's the biggest thing, acquisition. Like if you have the ability to, and one of the things I think the takeaways in that regard is that investors love long-term relationships.
You should get on, of course.
Yeah, we should. Right now, it's write that down.
Okay,
in the
so-
notes.
We're gonna make a short-term rental.
Of
online
course, yeah.
course. Okay, so whether it's owning or renting, we're gonna make an online course and show you guys exactly how to do
That'd be
this.
great, yeah.
And then we'll tie it in with Luminous. So okay, today is October 21st. We're shooting this. Yeah, legendary. So we're gonna make it
That's
official.
cool. That'd
Maybe
be
by the time this drops, we'll even have
the first slide.
the first. There you go. All right. So
Yes.
talk to me a little bit about the biggest hurdles you think. Well, I guess we did kind of talk about the biggest
Yeah.
hurdles in the industry, which is I guess getting the property.
Yeah.
So we're gonna show people how to actually get this
We'll
property
solve that
without the money.
problem.
So we saw that. Okay, so talk to me about the Luminous competitive advantage. So what's the competitive advantage that Luminous has?
We're an end-to-end solution for both the
End-to-end solution?
end-to-end solution.
Oh, end-to-end.
End-to-end.
One-stop
Meaning
shop.
You don't have, all I tell my investors to do is sit back and make the money. I'm gonna do the hard work for you.
She's not lying because that's what I've been doing. I've been
Yeah.
sitting back and just collecting money from these rentals, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's why we have you here because we only have people who are legendary first and foremost, people who are proven, right? We don't have fraudsters on here saying they do stuff they don't do it. You've been in the industry for 7+ years.
Yeah.
You're an expert in this. You now have my properties, and we're building and growing. So I think that's amazing. Now, talk to me a little bit about some tips and tricks you'll give to some people who are wanting to get into the short-term rental arbitrage. Like, tell them something that like a gem. Give them a gem because we're legendary right now, right? Like we wanna have the gems given to these people, right? So,
A gem for
or at least one. I know we're gonna make the course for everybody, but give them a gem.
Okay. The biggest one that I could say is you gotta know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. I can't say anything else. That's my
Right.
biggest trick. And the reason why I say that is like you literally can go and get any property. Yes, you can do that, but if you put it into an area that won't make money, you're in a situation. I have a
Especially
lot of
when you have a
hindsight.
mortgage, like for
Yeah.
example, that's one thing, and that's why I actually started to deal with you. So I'm like, you know what, like, okay, we have expenses on these properties, right?
Yeah.
If there's a way to make more money, right? Why wouldn't I put my property with you guys for you guys to optimize it? Right? So I
Yeah.
think that's the thing is to getting the most bang for your buck, optimizing these things, right?
Okay, one more tip
Tell me.
before I go.
Give them.
I tell my investors this all the time. I'm freeing up cash flow. Cash flow is very important. Don't detach yourself from the property and understand that if I was to take a long-term tenant, I have a lot of things that may hurt me in the long term, which is wear and tear on the property. They potentially can lose their job and not pay their rent.
Yeah, no,
And they can
that's good.
squat. They can squat.
Yeah,
Right?
No, good.
And I've had I've done long-term rentals as well, and I've had situations where people literally said to me, "I've lost my job, and I can't pay my rent, and there's nothing that you can do about it,
People are sitting in that.
and you're paying for it every single
Right.
month."
I
Right.
flip houses and I buy houses directly from homeowners, and I get these instances where maybe like a small time landlord has a property and they have a tenant in there who's taking advantage of them, they're old or
Yeah,
something
the,
like
the, the
that.
tenant law is in Canada. The tenant board and the law, like the tenant law,
Like
is,
LTV, but
Yeah.
I'm on tenant board, they're devious.
they are all for the tenant. So with that said, my biggest thing is that
Short-term gain.
short term is the game because we'll make you a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful. I make sometimes like I have a 2-bedroom unit in Toronto right now. I'm charging $465 a night, and in 2 days they paid off their mortgage. Literally in 2 days.
Luminous,
Yeah.
you guys need to get with Luminous. Alright, so long story short, get with Luminous, okay? Hit her up right now. If you can go back in time and tell your adolescent, teenage self something, what would it be?
Don't dwell. Don't dwell. Just keep it moving. Like don't sit on the issue. Don't let it take over you. Like I'm really emotional sometimes, you know. So yeah, just don't dwell. Keep moving forward. Just
Because
keep
we
on
don't
moving.
know, sometimes even the toughest times is preparing us for the best times.
Oh, I felt. I've been when they say there's a quote. I think it's like fall 7 and get back 8. Like 100, because I fell 7 times, maybe 17 times.
What's
But
that Wilson movie?
like Pursuit of Happiness. That's one of my favorite movies as well. Because you've seen this man sleep in the washroom with his son and wake up every day and be presented. And I think
It's tough.
That's it.
Battery died. So we're just gonna have to. Hang on, everything is on.
Right.
Give me 3 claps, Josh. Is he good?
Yeah.
Okay, pause.
Pause.
Okay, so then tell me a little bit about something that you would say to the younger self, like the adolescent Tricia, who's maybe in high school, still coming up. What would you say to your younger self?
Definitely, like I said, don't dwell at all, and don't let people's opinions or anything to do with like the noise. Because I feel like in high school, you definitely feel like you're tested. You're trying to figure out who you are, and while you're doing that, you're going through a lot of emotions. So I feel like just don't dwell on what's bothering you or kind of making you feel like you're down. Just keep on going.
100%. What keeps you up at night?
What
I'm not talking, no weird stuff, no freaky stuff, just like business wise.
Okay.
Like me, for example, for me, what keeps me up at night is like, how do I serve more people?
Right.
Like how do I show more people the knowledge and the game that I know? How do I be of more service to the people of those around me? Like, how do I serve more people? So what keeps you up at night?
My team, building on my team and the company. My team's really important to me because without them, I have a lot of there's a lot of diversity in my company. We come from all of these different places, but we all have a very important skill. It's kind of like our superpower,
That's it.
I have a guy that works in IT. I have another guy who's been retired for a few years, but he worked in the short-term rental game. Marketing guys, social media experts, and the whole spiel. And they're all doing one thing though. The mission and the vision is for us to scale and get to 125 units.
For those out there, don't let this go over your head, okay? We have in our community and a lot of entrepreneurs who start off with solopreneurs, right? We want to do everything ourselves. Like you mentioned before, there's a lot of correlations between sports and business or teamwork, right? It's like superheroes, right? We all come together. We were just talking with Stan, the man, the videographer here, about we're like a super team, right? We're like the Incredibles, right? We all do something, we all specialize in something, right? So it's so powerful that you're talking about your team because some people they get caught up in being an entrepreneur and doing everything for themselves, for self, by self. It's really not supposed to be like that. The moment you start scaling and growing is when you start to understand how important teamwork is and how important a team is. So tell me your top 3 business movies that you would recommend people to watch. Business
Steve Jobs.
Okay.
With the one with Ashton Kutcher.
Okay.
What's the third one? I'm gonna say The Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna say Bruce Lee's movie.
Bruce Lee?
Yeah, Bruce Lee.
Okay, tell me why Bruce Lee.
Because he's all about discipline.
There you go.
And discipline to me is the most important factor of entrepreneurship. I wake up every day and I have the same routine. There's so many people that have influenced me. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so this is why I love doing podcasts, because I've listened to them since I can remember.
That's why we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
I've learned so much from them, and that's why I want to dig in with experts.
Yeah.
Right? Because you know how impactful it is to be able to pick your phone up and start tapping into some information. You take action and you start saying, "Oh my goodness!" And it stemmed and started from seeing something online, right? So we're in that day and age where it's so powerful, and that's why we're doing what we do, right?
Yeah.
It's legendary, right?
Yeah.
It's literally legendary. Okay, so mention anything upcoming or new that your company is doing that you want people to know about, and then finish off by letting us know where we can find you.
Sure. Right now, we're actually launching a direct booking website. So all of our clients that are working with us are going to get additional
So
exposure.
I get additional
Yeah.
exposure.
And it's exactly very similar in terms of the consumer behavior of how you would experience booking with Airbnb. So you go on, you have your own account as an investor, so you can see your calendar, you can see any bookings, how much you've made. And also for the guests, you can see, you'll also have an account, and you'll be able to see all of your reservations. You can choose your flight, you can choose your, if you need a driver, and all of that.
Okay, so this is very important because now I'm investing in what you're doing. So now I want to know a little bit more about this.
Sure.
There's two routes, right? The first route is we are now going to be like an Uber, right?
Correct.
We're just going to be a platform.
Yeah.
Like these other platforms that you can come and book from. But I think the key to what you're doing is that you work with all the platforms. So will you be just an individual platform that only at some point you're only be able to book on Luminous?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be like that the hybrid where you can book on Luminous? Or we'll give you like discounts or like some sort of like
Exactly. There's going to be like a
company.
loyalty program.
So there's going to be both.
Yeah.
They're going to get okay. So I think that's what makes you a unicorn.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you're going to be raising some private funds.
Correct.
We're backing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're backing.
Yeah. Because this is a two-part system for the consumer, for the guest.
Yes.
The biggest takeaway is that we know without the guest we don't make money. You as a host, me as a company.
Yes.
So our primary focus is to give them a luminous experience. So they get to, again, customize their trip.
Luminous. What is
A luminous
Spell.
experience.
a luminous experience?
Yeah, a luminous
A
experience.
luminous. Okay. So explain the name. Where did that come from?
Oh, I was looking at a thesaurus because I wanted something that's like represented like bright, shiny, clean. You know, so I looked in the thesaurus and there's luminosity. And my graphic designer at the time, shout out being insane. He drew this really weird thing and it looked weird. And he's like, yo, luminosity, you should sing it luminous.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that's it.
Legendary.
Yeah, and then it was
Legendary.
yeah, and then
That's
I was like,
crazy.
okay, cool. That was like, you know, so yeah, that's how we came
That's
up
crazy.
with that.
It's crazy. Where can people find you? Like what website? Let us know the
My
website.
website
Let
is,
us know social media and all
Yeah.
that.
you can go to my Facebook. It's Luminous, ITS Luminous, LUMINOUS. My Instagram is $1 trillion host. And yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and again, $1 trillion host on Instagram, and it's Luminous on Facebook.
It's
And
been a
that's it.
pleasure. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate this. Look forward to more success,
Yeah.
more business. Let's do it. It's
Thank you
legendary.
for having me.
All right.
Okay, stop, nobody move. Sorry, rush you because we got 1%. But if
Okay.
you want to do the last question again, but just condense it into
Okay.
about 60 seconds,
Sure.
we should be able to
What
do
was the
it.
last question again?
Remember what the
How
last
to do
question
it? What was?
Just because I think I rushed him a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, we're
Yeah.
good. No,
We're
we're
good.
good.
We're
No,
good.
You think so?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what you want to do though, Christina? What can we put there?
His
Take
logo.
pictures or something?
Yeah, sit, but nobody move.
Well, right now at the end, you should do like you know how they have the previews, everything popping up.
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
do like luminous cleaning, like
Yeah.
your
so
Instagram
everything's gonna
logos,
pop up. Yeah.
his
it's fine.
logos. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be a
okay.
perfect
Okay.
spot for it all.
So we don't need that.
No,
Okay,
no.
got it.
Do your all custom stuff, his own logo.